Hi there, this is Jen and thanks so much for stopping by today. Today I'm doing a follow-up to a video that I did recently which was called 10 Awesome Facts About Digital Stamps, and it was a basic overview of some of the benefits of using digital stamps. And so in this video I'm going to go over how to use digital stamps, so the supplies you'll need and some basic editing functions. And my goal is for this video is to touch on some of the amazing things that you can do with digital stamps. But if you still have questions after this video, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the supplies that you'll need, and one of the most important supplies you'll need is a printer. And the printer that I use is a Canon, and it is a laser printer. And I personally think that a laser printer is the best option if you are going to be doing digital images. And that is because it allows you to alcohol marker color, watercolor, basically use any medium. Plus the bonus is that it uses toner ink, which means that you can foil with it as well. And you're not going to get that with an inkjet printer. Before I got the laser printer, I did try and do digital images with my inkjet, and I just couldn't get it to work for me. There's a lot of different fixes you can do. For example, after you print your image, spraying it with a fixative and trying to color that way. So that might be an option that you could try if you're not in the market for a laser printer right now. But the next thing I use with digital images is a word processing program. The program that I use is called LibreOffice. It is similar to MS Office, but if you have MS Office and you have Word on your computer, you can use that. I've seen people use Google Docs as well, but it might be a little bit more difficult. So whatever program you have, word processing wise, they're probably all going to be a little bit similar. So just use what you have if you already have it. And if you don't, I'll go ahead and leave a link below for the LibreOffice, and you can go ahead and check that out and see if that's something that you would like to use. And the next program you're going to need is a photo editing program. And the one that I use is paint.net. It is very basic and very easy to understand and get right into using. And that is a free program. The next one is GIMP, which is a free program as well. It is more similar to the robust program from Adobe called Photoshop, I believe. So if you're looking for something a little more advanced, or you're used to Adobe Photoshop and you want something that robust, the GIMP program is perfect. But for what I do, I am super happy with using paint.net because it's fairly basic, really easy to understand and to do the basic editing that I need to do when I am working with digital images. And I'll go ahead and leave links below for these programs as well. And last but not least is paper. And you'll just have to check with your manufacturer of your printer to see how heavy of a paper weight it will take. My printer used to take watercolor paper and it will no longer. It is very hard to get it through the rollers, and so I don't even try most of the time. If I'm going to do some marker watercoloring, I will use my Bristol paper, and if I don't want to waste my Bristol paper because it's a little more expensive than the Hammermill, I will use Hammermill and print out my image, and then I will put a matte medium on top of it, so then I can watercolor on that. And I use the Hammermill also for alcohol markers. It works perfectly. It is 100-pound weight as well, and it goes through the printer perfectly. I also use VELLUM, which goes through very easily. I haven't used acetate in my printer because I'm worried that it will melt, but I've read different things on that, so you can try that if you're being adventurous, but I haven't tried that. So the next thing is going to be the delivery of the digital images, and I am using the Impression Obsession website because they have a lot of really cool digital images. And these are the free digital images. Even though they are free, you still need to select the image that you want and add it to your cart, just as if you were checking out paying, and then follow the prompts to fill out your address and all of that. And then once you have done that, under order summary, there will be a link that says digital download. And once you click on that, in the upper right hand part of your screen, or at least on mine, you'll see it downloading, and then you're going to click on the link there that says open file. and then your image is going to open up into whatever program you have set up on your computer for images to open up on. And then you're going to click on the three little dots and save as, and this is for my computer. Yours should be similar, but depending on what you're using, it might be slightly different. But once I click on those three dots, I'm going to choose save as, and then I'm going to save it as in whatever file folder that I want to save it as on my computer. And the next one, I'm going to show you how to work with a zip file. And so I'm going to go to the Polka Dot Orchard site. These are images that you pay for, but you're going to do the same process as far as adding the images to your cart that you want to purchase and going through the checkout process. And once you've gone through the checkout process for most of the companies, you're going to get some kind of link. Usually they'll email it to you, as well as have the download on your account or in your downloads or order summary. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that download, and once again that download will pop up in the upper right hand corner of my screen. And then you can either open it and save the pictures as we did in the previous example. This time I'm going to go to the downloads file on my computer, and I'm going to choose that file that says Life Needs Music. I'm going to right click on that and do Control C to copy that, and then I'm going to find wherever I'm going to put it on my computer. I'm putting it in the folder that says Polka Dot Orchard, and then I will go ahead and left click and do Control V to paste that file. And I am pasting that file in the file that I already have set up called Polka Dot Orchard. And once I have done that, I am going to go ahead and click on the upper right hand side on that icon that says Extract All, and then I'm going to get a pop-up. I'm going to click on Extract, and then my files will be extracted and saved into the folder that I previously set up for them, and now I can start editing. But before I edit the images, I'm going to prep my word processing document so that I have some place to put those images. And so I have opened the LibreOffice, and I have a new document, and I'm going to go to Insert from the toolbar and Insert Text Box. And once I do that, if I hover my mouse over the document, there will be a plus sign and a faint blue outline, and this is how I'm going to make my text box. So I'm just going to move the mouse around, going bigger or smaller depending on the size of my box. You can tell what size it is by where that red arrow is pointing. As you move the mouse around, it will show you the size of your text box. And this is helpful because it will allow you to see how your elements are going to fit on your card panel depending on what size of card that you are doing. If I'm doing a 4¼ by 5½, I'm going to make my text box a little bit smaller than that. And once I have my text box sized, I'm going to click off into the white space and then go up to the top. Right under Form, there is an undo arrow. I'm going to click on that. And then below that, there is a drop down, and I'm going to choose the first line. And then that will give me my actual text box. This is one of the quirky things about this program. If you're using Word, you should just be able to draw the text box and it'll be there. This program's a little bit different, so that is not the case. But now you have your sized, basically, card panel. And then next we're going to go into editing. So we're going to be using our word processing document as well as paint.net. And the tool menu for paint.net is going to be over on the left hand side, either as a drop down or it will be pulled up already. And this is where you're going to find most of the tools that you are going to be using. The first one we are doing is rectangle select. So I will just select the tool and then use my mouse and my left click to move that around and make that selection. And there are also two other select tools. One of them is the lasso select, which I don't use, and then the other one is the ellipse, which is basically a circle. And I want to use an image now in paint.net. So what I'm going to do in the paint.net menu, I'm going to go to File and then Open, and then grab the image from my computer, and that will open that image up in paint.net. And the first thing I'm going to do is resize the image. So to do that, I'm going to select image from the toolbar and then select resize, and it will bring up this resize box. This box tells you the full size was about 2,500. So I'm going to reduce this. So I'm going to click on the box or the circle that says by percentage, and then I'm just going to type in a number there and then click OK. And that is going to reduce it by whatever percentage you have typed in that box. And the next thing I'm going to do is select the image. So I'm going to go to the edit function in the toolbar and go all the way down to the bottom where it says select all, and that will select the image, and you can tell it's selected because it changes color and there's that moving dotted line around it. And next I'm going to copy, so I'm going to go to edit and then copy, and then we'll open up my word processing document and do edit paste, or you can do Control V, which pastes as well. And then so I have my image up and it is selected, and you can see there are little squares all around the box, and this is what you're going to use to resize it in your word processing document. So you just click on one of the corners with your mouse and drag. I only use the four corners. I do not use the middle because, as you can see there, if you move the middle, it kind of stretches the image and distorts it, and that is something you don't want. You can move the image around the page by left clicking your mouse on the image and just dragging it around, and that will move it. You can rotate the image. There's a little icon up on the right hand side. It will give you these four little circles, and you just grab one of those with your mouse, and then that allows you to move that around and rotate it in different directions. So the rectangle select feature is super helpful, especially if you have a full sheet of images like this here. You're just going to go to the tool drop down and select your rectangle select, and then take your mouse and drag it over the image that you want to work with. You're going to do the copy and then move over to your word processing document and paste that image in there. Sometimes you might need to use the eraser tool, especially if the images are close together, but I'll show you how to work with that. The next tool we are going to go over is the magic wand. This is a magical tool, like it says. And the magic wand is a handy tool to have because it will make things transparent. So this image that I have pulled up, it was already created as a transparent image by the creator, but you can tell it's transparent because it has that checkerboard background. So the actual image is solid, but the background is transparent. If you don't have a transparent background, you're going to have a white background more than likely, and it is going to be ugly when you try to layer images. So that's why it's important to have a transparent background if you're going to be doing any type of layering with your digital images. And on this example, I'm just showing the top one is not transparent. So when I move that bear over, you can tell that white around the image is kind of blocking the image for the bear. But when you have transparency, you can layer those right on top, and it looks just like if you were masking off stamping. So I'm going to show you how to make the background transparent. And I have pulled up this image from Impression Obsession, and just as a note, Impression Obsession files are all JPG files, and they will not come with a transparent background, but most digital images that you purchase will have a transparent background. So to make the background transparent, we're going to go to the toolbar or the tool menu and select the magic wand, and then you're just going to click with your mouse in any area of the white background. And what this is going to do is it's going to select all of your images, all of the elements, and once you have that done, you're just going to hit your delete key, and once you hit your delete key, it's going to make that background transparent. And again, you know that because it is that checkerboard pattern in the back. So as you can see, some of the little elements within the letters did not become transparent. I think it's has something to do with how the images are like closed or something like that. I don't totally understand it all, but if you just take your mouse and click into those areas and click delete, it will make those areas transparent as well. The important thing to remember is when you're saving this file, it needs to be saved as a PNG extension. So when you do File, Save As, and then there's the drop down for JPEG or PNG, you want to make sure you select the PNG file format to save it, or you won't have that transparency in the background. So the next tool is the eraser. This is a handy tool to have, especially if you have things that you do not want on your You want a certain element from the digital image, but not the whole thing. So this is a background from Polka Dot Orchard of honeycombs, and I just want a few honeycombs to put around my card. So I'm going to go ahead and use the eraser tool. Again, that is from the tool drop down. You're going to choose eraser, and then brush width. I have it set at 95 right now. Usually that's about what I set it at if I'm doing a big areas, and then you can go ahead and decrease that number if you're doing smaller areas. And so what you see when I'm going over this background, it is everything behind it is going to be transparent. And so what I'm doing is I'm just erasing everything that I don't want. And I find it helpful to use the sizer down at the bottom right hand side to make my page a little bit bigger, so because sometimes I can't see all these little smudges that I have forgotten. And so I am just hovering over those with that circle eraser and clicking my mouse, and that gets rid of those. And then now I can use my selection tool to select the images that I want and copy those and then paste those into my Word document. The other things you can do with digital images is layering them, mirroring them, and doing a no line. So I have several images already up in my word processing document. And if I want to create an entire card panel and create a scene, I'm going to go ahead and have all of my images, and I am going to want to layer them front or back. So I want the mermaid in the front. Right now, as you can see, when I move the rock, it is covering up my mermaid, and I don't want that. So I'm going to make sure I have that rock selected by clicking on it with my mouse, and then I'm going to right click my mouse and select arrange, and then I'm going to select send to back. So you can either have it in the front or the back. So I could have actually selected the mermaid as well and moved her to the front. So either way you want to do it. And then I'm just going to move her around and place her on the rock where I want her sitting. And it's as easy as that. You can take all of your card elements and layer them and not have to do any masking or anything time consuming like that. It is super, super quick when working with digital images. So I went ahead and move the seashell and the flower so they are in front of the rock as well. And next I'm going to show you how to mirror image. This is so super easy. So I'm going to select the image that I want to mirror, and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to paste, and when I paste it, it's going to paste it exactly on top of my original image. So you didn't lose it if you don't see the image. It is actually right on top of the original. And then I'm going to choose to take the left image, and that is the one that I'm going to rotate or flip. And so I've selected that with my mouse. I'm going to choose rotate or flip. And then I'm going to choose flip horizontally. And that gives me my perfect mirror image with almost zero effort. So super easy, and it's one of the best things about digital images, I think. So to get that no line look, I'm just going to select the image that I want no line. Over on the right hand side under color mode, I have used that drop down and chosen watermark, and it's as easy as that. On Microsoft Word, I think it might be grayscale is what the function is to kind of get that lighter color to the image so that it can be a no line watercolor. And next I'm going to do grouping, and this is a little more difficult with the LibreOffice than it would be with Word. So to actually do grouping, and you would use grouping, I would say, more often if you're doing a background and you wanted the same pattern throughout that whole background. It's really a lot easier if you group the images together instead of copying and pasting single images. So I've grabbed this tape image, and what I've had to do was go into LibreOffice Draw, and I've selected the image, and I'm just going to do a copy and paste so that I have 3 of these in a row. And this is basically going to be a background for one of my cards. And so once I've done that, I'm going to take my mouse and hold down the control key and then click on each of the tapes. Once I have all of those selected, I'm going to do a right click on my mouse, choose group, and then now I have all of these images grouped together as one so that I could just copy and paste this entire row instead of copying pasting all over one single image and trying to get it straight. This is a lot easier in Word. I believe in Word you can just add the image, copy and paste it, hold down your control key and select everything and group it. But for whatever reason in this program, it is not something that you can do. So it's just a little bit of an extra step. So as you can see from this printout, I have a whole background of these cassette tapes, and I'll show at the end of the video the projects that I made using some of these digital images. And the last step would be printing. So basically, depending on what brand of printer you have, what printer you have, some of the printing functions might be different. But for me, when I am printing, I go to the print menu and I select properties, and then I choose the paper type. So I do that in the page setup, and then there is an area for paper type. For most things that I'm printing for digitals, I'm going to use the heavy paper type. Unless I'm doing vellum, then I would probably use the plain paper type. But I'm going to go ahead and choose heavy for the paper type, and then OK. And then I also go into the quality tab of my printer settings, and I use graphics just to ensure that I get the best print. And since I use different paper types, I go ahead and use the manual feed on my printer. Depending on what printer you have, that could be in different locations. Mine happens to be on the front of the printer. But that's pretty much it. Once you've got your images printed out, you can go ahead and create your card. These first two cards are using the Polka Dot Orchard backgrounds, that mixed background, and I have used a foil on that. The third card, I have used a piece of Hammermill paper and have put in clear gesso on that, and I've watercolored over that, so that is this one. And then the last card is one that I alcohol marker colored on. The last two images you can get from Impression Obsession. They are their free digital images. And that is it. I really hope that I have helped kind of, if anything, just kind of introduced you to the possibilities of digital stamps and shown you how you can use them very easily. Again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and feel free to leave them below. I will do my best to answer them. I've also included kind of a short little cheat sheet with some of the step-by-step instructions for some of the functions that I have covered in this. If you need something else that's similar to that for something you don't understand, please do let me know, and I can go ahead and do that. But that is it. If you liked this video or found it informative, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I hope to see you next time.